Trevs Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. Sweet. Anyway, it's video number 3 of hopefully 5 videos I'm doing tonight. And really, this one I kind of expected. I didn't expect it so soon, but I kind of expected it. After the team missed the playoffs for the first time in 9 years, last missing the playoffs in 2013-14, the Washington Capitals and their head coach Peter Laviolette have decided to mutually part ways, being his contract expires at the end of this year, or this season, June 30th. He decided not to renew, and Washington finds itself without a head coach again. Let's talk about it. Okay, so a brief history lesson. Laviolette was hired in Washington on September 15th, 2020, taking over for Todd Reardon. Now, he was the 19th coach in team history. So the next guy will be the 20th coach in Washington's team history. And Laviolette came in with the plethora of playoff experience, having won 1 Stanley Cup and last missing the playoffs in the 2007-2008 season when he was coaching for Carolina. Now, under Laviolette, the Capitals put up a 115, 78, and 27 record. With the playoff results, ultimately, with the exception of this year, the playoff result was always the same, out in the first round. They were out to the first round in Boston, they were out in the first round to Florida, and they missed the playoffs. So, it's good to have the playoff experience under your belt, but it's also good to move past the first round, I would think. But I don't know, maybe his style just wasn't clicking, or his voice wasn't being heard loud enough. Or he just feeling the guilt of missing the playoffs for the first time in almost 2 decades and, wants to reconsider or something. I don't know. But Cap's best statistical finish under Laviolette was a 44-26-12 record in 2021-22, and their best divisional finish was when the Caps finished second place in the East Division in the 2020-21 season. But first is always the goal, right? The Caps are a winning team by if you haven't heard yet. And while no replacement has been named at this point, you'd think the next guy that comes into Washington, can bring out the best in secondary scoring, while also, keeping Tom Wilson as a scoring machine that he's starting to turn into, apparently, because Laviolette found a way. At the same time, if the Caps don't end up deciding to move Kuznetsov, or depending on what happens with Oshie or anything like that, it could be a completely different team for the next guy that takes it over. Who knows? But either way, I think the goal at this point now is getting back to the playoffs while Ovi's chasing his record, if he's more concentrated on that as opposed to anything. But I gotta think that he's more team-oriented than anything. At the same time, some playoff success wouldn't hurt either. And while you can't always blame the coach for the guys that he's being told to put on the ice, when you can't fire the GM and you're only the coach, you're going to be that domino. Not saying wrong move, but at the same time, if his contract's expiring and he's saying no, you got to respect that. At the same time, even though he's coached 5 teams and he's been coaching consistently for a very long time, I don't think this will be the last time we hear of Peter Laviolette. I think he'll pop up somewhere else, coach his 6th team, and hopefully take them to wherever they go playoff-wise. Because nowadays, playoff success is everything. I don't know if it's more emphasized nowadays as opposed to how it used to be, but that defines winning seasons, right? Right. So let me know your thoughts on Peter Laviolette and the Washington Capitals. It's another one of Trevs Hockey Shows. Well, thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you're tuning in right here. That helps. It really does. So if you want, hit that like button. If you really want, that red button that says subscribe all over it, hit that thing. It'll make you feel good. And we're pushing for 250, so let's make it happen. That social I don't use, it's in the description down below. Just moving forward. I'm going to start tackling the regular season now. Unless, more coaches or general managers get fired in the next day or two. But at the same time, I have to work on finishing up the regular season, getting my playoff predictions out, because you want to go to Vegas with those. So in between time, be looking forward to some Trev data.